Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about body count and, you know, do I feel like it matters or when does it matter, etc. So, this is a conversation that I recently heard this coming up again. I kind of forgot about this whole thing being an issue for people. But since I heard it, I wanted to talk about it. So, okay, right off the bat, so I'm the type of person who really likes consistency, right? Like, if you're gonna have an opinion, my thing is have your opinion but stand on it, right? And I may do various videos where I give more examples of what I mean by that. But in this case, let me give this example and show you what I mean. So, if we're talking about just in general, my opinion, right? Me personally, do I think body count matters? Or rather, do I think you should care? So, me personally, um, yes and no. Let me explain what I mean. So, I personally am not like a fan of hookup culture, and I don't think casual sex is a thing. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm not one for, random hookups or whatever. So, personally, I don't really think people should be sleeping around in general. So, that's just me. But that's for men and women, right? So that's what I mean by the consistency. Because the thing is, one thing that I feel like is really prevalent in this conversation is the whole thing with men saying, like, well, it's different for men. It's different for men because for women, it's so much easier for them to have it. So it means something different when a guy has a higher body count versus a woman having a higher body count because the man has to put in effort and the woman doesn't. And then that whole key and lock thing, whatever. So my thing is, like I said, for me, it's for both. I don't think nobody should be doing it. I mean, not like in general, but personally, I just think you should wait until it's gonna be meaningful, not just like you just doing it all over the place. But that's just me. I know that's not, most people's opinions, but at least I'm saying it's the same for both, right? Now, I can acknowledge, right, the fact that I do agree that it is generally more difficult for a man to be able to have sex than a woman for the reasons that they say because, you know, as far as I can tell, guys just don't really have standards, so they'll do whatever, whereas girls do. So it's like, yeah, if a guy actually manages to meet her standards because she actually has them, then yes, it is different, right? But here's something that I feel like kind of gets overlooked. And honestly, I didn't even really think about it myself until maybe like yesterday or 2 days ago when I decided that I wanted to even talk about this again. But the thing is, so if the whole thing is that, oh, well, since it's harder for men, it means more, and so it's more of a good thing, blah, 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 blah. To me, right, what that sounds like, and I could be wrong, and I don't think that this is necessarily going to be the case for every man, but what it sounds to me is like jealousy. Because here's the thing, just because a woman generally has the ability to more easily sleep with um a wide range of men, that doesn't mean that she's okay. Like, okay, let me put it this way. If 100 guys want to sleep with a girl, it doesn't mean that she wants to sleep with all 100 of them. Okay? Like, I feel like that's an important thing to like say. So, basically what I'm saying is, even if a woman has the ability to sleep with 100 guys, she's still gonna, out of those 100, choose the one she actually wants to sleep with. And it's not her fault that the guys make it easy for her to do that. And it sounds to me like men are just mad that it's not the same for them. That, if a woman wants to sleep with a guy who's offering himself up to her, it sounds like he's jealous. He doesn't necessarily, and again, not necessarily, because I do think, some men do have it like that, but not all men necessarily have the capability to just, there's a girl that they think is attractive, and they know that there's a good chance that, she'll be willing to sleep with them. Like, not every guy has it like that. And so to me, it just sounds like jealousy. It just sounds like you're jealous that if she wants to sleep with a guy, there's a higher chance that she'll be able to do it than you. But again, that's not her fault that men seem to have lower standards on average, if any standards at all. Now, yes, there's the whole argument. I mean, I do personally feel like women shouldn't, women especially, like, even though I feel like, nobody should be doing it, I especially do feel like women shouldn't do it. But it has nothing to do really with like save, like, because I heard an argument of like women saving themselves for a man or whatever, and even though in a sense that is what I'm saying, not quite. Like, I'm not really going into it as far as like this whole Disney princess, if it's not like the one that you're going to be with forever, then you can't do it. I'm not saying that. Do I think you should try to wait as long as you can, hopefully until marriage, but probably not, to do it? Sure. But I also feel like, if you happen to get into, you know, relationships, like, this person is your significant other, you guys are pretty serious, and you happen to do it because, that's something that's meaningful for you guys. I mean, I'm not demonizing that, that's a thing that couples do. I can recognize that, right? But I just feel like in general, like outside of that, the reason why I feel like women shouldn't just be sleeping around, it's not for saving yourself necessarily. I just explained that. No, it's just because women are more at risk. Because the thing is, like, men have to worry about STDs, right? So do women, but then most women also have to worry about pregnancy. So there's two main things to worry about. They only have one. We have that and another one on average. And like, if you get pregnant, I mean, that is a huge thing. Like, even deciding not to have it is a huge decision. So I just feel like not every guy even deserves that. Like, the possibility of that. Not every guy deserves your body. Like, it's less about him, it's more about you and your value as a woman. I just feel like not every guy deserves your body. And the thing is, they know that. They know that. That's why a lot of times they won't respect you when you give up your body, because they know your value. And it's like a lot of women don't realize their value. And it's sad. I mean, and listen, let me also say that I didn't even necessarily have that mentality for a long time myself. Like, I had a lot of confidence issues. I didn't realize that I had self love. And so I looked at sex like differently than I do now. Um, just because of the way that society shapes it and everything. But yeah, I just feel like it's not even about the men, it's about women. And I'm not saying that necessarily just because you sleep with someone that you don't value yourself, but if, as a woman, I mean, but I would look at like really actually think about it. Like, don't just, right off the bat say, oh, no, I do. Like, no, really, really be honest and truthful for yourself. Do you really value yourself? Do all of these guys really deserve your body like that? That's all I'm saying. But anyway, getting back to the whole thing, does body count matter uh specifically, right? So I already set up that personally, I don't really promote sleeping around. But I think even if you do sleep around, right? Like, let's say you do, and I would say most people probably do. Um does it matter? Like I said at the beginning, yes and no. I feel like I've kind of explained that. Let me explain it a little bit more though. So, the thing is, yes, uh the number of partners that you've had can affect you, and it can say a lot about your mentality, how much you value yourself and that type of thing. It can say all that. It can. But hear me out, okay? There's a but I feel like unless your number is just crazy high, and it also depends on your age too, and also your profession, but I'm not going to get into that. But the point is, I feel like unless your number is just crazy high, no, it really shouldn't matter. If I'm being honest, like, whether you've had none or 50, whatever, I'm gonna just throw out a number. It really shouldn't matter in the sense that it's like, if me and you are trying to have a relationship right now, right? As long as while we're in this relationship, I'm respecting our relationship, regardless of how many people I slept with in the past, if I'm not sleeping with anyone when I'm with you, then that's what should matter. Because my past is my past. As long as it hasn't had any like long term effects, like, again, you were doing that and then you ended up with an STD, because then that's not your past anymore. That becomes your present, right? Um, but even then, that's still not that's but that's still not even a body count thing, because you could do it once and get an STD, to be honest, right? So again, that goes back to my point of, like, it's really about what me and you have. So the number of partners that I've had in the past, it really shouldn't matter that much. Like, as long as I like you, you like me, and we're going to respect each other in this relationship that we have, and we're not going to go out sleeping with other people, that's really, like, it's about how you're going to move now in the present, because you can't change your past. You can't. But you can affect what you do in the future and the choices that you make right now. Like, whether you're proud of your body count number or whether you're ashamed of it, whichever it is, I really don't think that matters all that much when you're looking at what your relationship is right now. So I feel like it's a weird question to ask. Um I I can understand why someone would want to know still, because again, there are certain, I mean, like, especially if someone is insecure one way or another about it, I could see where they would want to know. But at the same time, even if they do want to know, even if there are reasons for it, ultimately, I feel like you shouldn't have to know. Because even if you have someone who has less experience, like if one of you doesn't have as much experience, I feel like the thing is, the person who has more experience, it should give them an opportunity to like give that person experience to teach them. And okay, maybe you feel weird about that. Maybe you feel weird about the wording, but the point is that like it's an experience that you guys can share together. And I mean, every person is different. Every person has different likes and dislikes anyway, so you're going to have to learn each other regardless. So, as long as you learn each other, you have good communication and you can figure out what each other likes, I don't feel like it should be a problem, and therefore I feel like ultimately it shouldn't matter. So, whether you're a virgin or you were out here hoeing, whatever it is, ultimately I don't think that it should matter. And while I understand there are reasons why you might want to ask the question, I still think it's a weird question to ask. I really do. And I feel like, generally speaking, again, not always, but generally speaking, it screams of insecurity. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. If you have a different one, or if you agree with me, feel free to let me know. Like, if there's anything that you feel like I didn't cover, feel free to let me know that too. But that was what was on my mind, so that is what I said. Hopefully you enjoyed, you got something out of this, and I hope to catch you in the next one.